What is up, everyone? Welcome to the NoLife Gaming Show. How is everyone doing? Feels good to be back. Happy to be back in action. We filmed our tech show before this show. But basically, in that show, I talked about the wedding, a little bit of that stuff. You'll see that tomorrow. That's where I was at. I had a wedding. I got married. Got the bling bling on the ring. And we went on our little honeymoon. Back in action. Happy making videos again. It was hard not to work while I was gone. But it was a much-needed little vacation, and I highly recommend anyone who is dealing with any sort of work burnout, anything like that, take a little bit of a break. If you can't afford to, if you can't afford to take a break, or your job won't let you take a break, and you're feeling some type of burnout, either from too much stress, too much school, we all get that way. I recommend that you disconnect at least from the internet. I really think the internet is making me lose my mind slowly. It's for someone like myself who I'm running 3 different channels right now, 3 different websites. I also have clients and other side projects that I do. Plus, like I said, I just got married, so I was dealing with a wedding, just like personal stuff. All that stuff really does weigh on your psyche. And I think the internet and its constant notifications, constant blings, constant blams, constant depressing stories slamming you in the face. It's just, it's just a really, I don't think my brain is quite as adept as I thought it was. And taking a break, like just disconnecting, like I literally felt my brain like get lighter, and like it's pretty crazy. So if you are someone who can't afford a vacation or anything like that, try to disconnect from the internet, social media. Literally don't look at any news. Just do things that you like to do. Go to work, hang out at work, talk to people at work, try not to engage in any sort of politics or anything like that. Just be happy at work, and then come home and then just relax, make yourself some dinner, read a book, maybe do some drawing, do something that doesn't involve constant attention, because that is what I think we all need nowadays. It's kind of crazy as I get a notification on my wrist.
Or you could go on Twitter and see how thirsty your friends are to fuck female Bowser.
Bowsette. I mean,
by the way,
what do you think of Bowsette? I saw some stuff about Bowsette, but I don't really know what the controversy is.
I have a folder dedicated to Bowsette.
Oh God.
I love Bowsette. I think it's great. I love the internet.
So what is Bowsette exactly?
It's awful. It's so good and it's terrible. So okay, they did the Nintendo Direct a couple weeks ago while we were off, and they brought like a port of the new Super Mario Brothers game that was on the Wii U, and they're like, oh, this new version, like Toadette, the female Toad character, can like grab a new mushroom power up that has a crown on it, and it turns her into Peachette. So somebody made like a joke comic where, like, the Super Mario Odyssey, when Peach, gets rid of the two of them, and then it's just Bowser holding the mushroom, and then it's just female Peach but with the horns. Right. And then fan art exploded.
Wow.
And then it got really lewd.
Oh,
and
I bet.
It's all over Twitter. It is so awful, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. I like fan art to begin with. Like, I appreciate good fan art. And by that I mean not Sonic fan art, because that's awful. But like, there are 2 camps of people right now. There's either you love Bowsette, or you think it's fucking awful, god awful trash, and you're just blocking everyone on Twitter.
I'm not too sure how I feel about it yet, but I am more concerned at like how Bowsette isn't already a thing.
I don't know.
Or is Daisy Bowsette?
Well, Daisy is just like Luigi's version of like Peach.
Oh, okay. So it's Peach is the Mario, Daisy is the
Daisy's the Luigi.
So and then there's I guess
Believe
there's
me,
no bad girl.
I already saw Waluigi. That was the thing I saw earlier.
Now that I want to see.
And I'm just wondering, what's next? Are we getting Zeldorf?
No, I want to see a Waluigi. How do you even say that?
I don't know. The internet is a weird place, and it's a very weird place right now.
I found Waluigi.
I am a connoisseur of weird.
Someone drew a Waluigi jet, and then Wendy's actually commented to Twitter.
Wendy's is great for the Twitter game with gaming. Like, they're great.
I hope you know that cancer has infected WoW even.
Dude, it's infected every subreddit that I am on.
Waluigi jet.
But unless you're looking for like not safe for work stuff, stay away from r/Bowsette.
Oh God!
I went to see if it was real, and it's real, and it's really thirsty.
I wish fucking YouTube wasn't for babies, so we can look at it with everyone and enjoy.
There's in WoW, there's been a guild recruiting from a character named Bowsette, and recruiting for the Doki Doki waifu for some aids. I'm recruiting that it's just for chatting about your favorite waifus, and everyone should come meet the new internet's newest favorite waifu, Bowsette.
There's Bowsette. Now I'm seeing a lot of the Boo version, which is, I guess, Booette. I don't fucking know. And the best part is people are arguing about it, like actually arguing that it shouldn't even be Bowsette because that implies that it's like Toadette and Bowser. It should be like Peachosaur or some shit like that.
I'm looking at Boobette right now. That's her nickname, Boobette.
Yeah, I think it's
really just like an anime chick with big ass titties, with like
that's what all the fan art is,
with a crown on her head to signify Boo.
It's just the thirst for a like. It's like the bad girl complex.
It's thirst for those waifus.
You want the bad girl.
I don't even know if we would get banned for something like this. There's no nudity in it, but it's pretty disgusting to look at. Knowing that like some dude made that. I'm
unashamed in my love of the terrible.
No, I do think this is pretty interesting. Bowsette. Well, there's that. All right. Well, anyways.
Yeah, talking about disconnecting, because that was, I'm going on vacation. Starting this Friday, I'm going to Tennessee.
That's right.
Me and my brother, we're gonna just go watch a football game, hang out in Tennessee, Nashville, and I got one more day of work and then I can disconnect because burnout is real.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is.
I slept through everything today.
People think like
I slept through work and school. I just accidentally was like, oh, I'm dead.
I got the burnout.
I need a couple days to myself to recharge, to go have some fun. I may not have like a ton of money right now, but I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna throw it on my credit card and worry about it later. I'm gonna enjoy myself.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like Wayne, the entire time you've been gone, I've basically been on a sleep schedule of like maybe 4 hours of like how busy I've been. It's just like I'm hitting that point of like
you need to disconnect. That's what I was talking about before. Like
in the morning,
this vacation, I really made an effort to not like look at any social media. It's hard when you're addicted as I am to all that shit, but even just like making that effort, and there were a few days where I didn't look at it at all, and it's just like I literally felt like my brain get lighter, and like everything was like, it's crazy because when we came back from the weekend, we sat down on the couch, we took a shower, or we're watching the news, and the news here is just depressing. Like there was like a mass shooting at some place. There was a mass shooting at someone's work. There was a robbery. There was a break-in. There was a plane that had the air pressure failed, and people's ears were bleeding from their fucking heads. Like, it was just like, Jesus Christ.
There was the kid in Philly that fell in between the train crash.
Yep.
Like, man, Philly especially, has just been a lot of negative news, bad news.
Yeah, and you don't really realize it when you're in the thick of it until you take a break and you come back and you're like, oh my God, what the hell? I have to deal with this shit again? But it is necessary. If you can't, like I said, if you can't afford it, do your best to try to not look at the internet for a little bit. And I promise you'll feel better. If
you got a weekend off, go camping.
Yeah, go camp. Just don't look at any screens. I'm sure the blue light from screens fucks with your brains too.
I have everything set to 8:45 p.m. to go
turn off.
Whatever that like filter is.
Oh, right, the red filter.
I have that on everything. Yeah.
Like my PC has it, my phone has it.
I don't do that. I should probably start doing that.
Dude, it's the best quality of life I've ever done for myself.
Yeah, I need to start.
Not actually. That's obvious.
I probably should set it earlier than 8:45. To be honest, I should probably set it for 7 p.m.
Well, as soon as it gets dark, they say you should you should turn that shit
Yeah,
off.
and
Because
with
it
the
takes a
fall-
couple hours. They say looking at blue light for like 30 minutes is like equal to a cup of coffee. So you should probably do it at least like 2-3 hours before you go to bed, you know?
Wish that was true to. I wish that was true at work.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a whole different set of things, but it's crazy how much the blue light can fuck with your brain. Anyways, take a little break if you can. If you can't, I understand. Try to just disconnect. All right. Spider-Man. I wanted to talk about this. I'm so happy with Spider-Man, dude. I actually have some gameplay footage that I can put up here too. This game came out before the day before my wedding, and I started playing it, and I was like literally thinking like, I don't even want to go to my wedding. I just want to play fucking Spider-Man in the house, dude. This game is so fun.
Dude, it makes you feel like you're Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think that's
If
a
you watch
meme.
the donkey video, it was so good.
Yeah, but I know it's a meme, but it's so true.
Oh yeah, no, I told you in like I remember when we were talking about the game coming up, and it's like, can wall slinging really be that fun that you're gonna be entertained by that? And it's like, I told you, yes,
Yeah.
it's so good.
You can fast travel in the game, and I don't
No,
fast
why
travel.
would you?
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah, I just fucking web sling through the world. That's what I think feels the best about the game, is that you really feel like you're Spider-Man. But the movement feels so fluid, and like combat, like just web slinging and then just dropping onto a bunch of enemies and just beating the shit out of them, trying to get as high as a combo point as you can.
I know a lot of people like were arguing like it's just Arkham Asylum or Arkham City with Spider-Man. It doesn't push the genre forward. And my argument to that is, why does it have to? It does it so well.
Yeah, it really does. I don't see how they could even push it any further other than maybe adding more combat, more different combat.
And there
skills.
is DLC. Like there's 3 different DLC packs coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I got the special edition, so it came with all that. So there's one for Black Cat. There's one that's like all about a heist, which I assume still deals with Black Cat, and then there's another one I can't remember the title for it. And then and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there are so many sequel hints. So they're definitely making a second game.
Yeah. Yeah, don't spoil anything. I'm about 60% of the
So
way
how are you playing it as you unlock the next like set of collectibles?
I kind of do a little bit of both. Right now, I've been just playing missions. Like, I just want to progress through the story just because I was in a good mission spot and I wanted to know what the fuck next is.
I tackled it as every collectible. Like, as soon as the backpacks unlocked in the beginning, I went and collected all of them.
Oh, really?
And then, it took me forever to get through the story because I was just like, oh, now I have, like, 12 different science things to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to do them all.
Yeah. I know. And that's, like, I'm not a collectibles kind of guy. And I've been collecting shit. You know what I mean? Like the Black Cat ones, I definitely want to do that next because I want that Black Cat uniform.
It's an interesting uniform.
Well, I like how they have the ugly Spider-Man uniforms in here. You know what I mean? Like I think the noir one's ugly. I like the dusk, like the Spider-Man dusk one, the negative one. From the dust the
negative suit, I think,
yeah.
right there. The inverted one.
Yeah, I fucking love that because that was a series that I read back in the day. I think that was in
See, I ran with the I ran a little bit with the Punk Spider.
The Punk Spider's dope.
And then I ran a lot of the Scarlet Spider, because Scarlet Spider was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I haven't unlocked that one yet. I don't think. It's just
is
it all red?
It's red with like a blue, like almost like a blue, like cut off hoodie.
Oh, okay. I know
If you ever remember the Scarlet Spider storyline.
Yeah.
And then of course the Iron Spider, which is just such a great one. And then
that's a more recent one, right?
Yeah, Civil War from maybe like, oh god, Civil War might have been like 10 years ago at this point, but still, yeah, one of the newer ones. And then the Homecoming from the new Spider-Man movie that came out, they have that outfit in there as well.
Yeah, they have a bunch of awesome suits, and I mean, just like it's just so fucking good. You're watching combat now. This is just like a part of a mission where I had to drop in and clear these kind of sections here of the prisoners, and it's the combat that like I'm all about combat, and it's the way that you can string. Like I just try to fight and make it look as cool as possible. You know what I mean? Like I just want to make the coolest looking fight as possible, and I try to incorporate all my different skills at once. Use all the gadgets I can. Throw around the brutes. It's just they made it feel so good to play.
My only gripe, and this is the only gripe, and it gets better as the game goes on, are the stealth missions.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
They're not very intuitive.
They're just not that fun.
And they're not really interesting, except for the last one. So I'm not spoiling anything, but the last one is the best one, and there are reasons for that.
All right.
And that helped redeem it, that the last one was the best one.
Well, I did do one where you play as MJ. I just don't like playing anyone else other than Spider-Man, to be honest.
MJ's last one was solid, just because some of the things they give you and some of the things that happen in that like mission actually did keep me intrigued.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one that I'm talking about is like you played as MJ, but like you were like using Spider-Man as like a weapon, you know what I mean? And he would come and just kind of scoop people up. I thought that was pretty dope. Yeah, the Grand Central Station.
That was the MJs were definitely more interesting than say
Miles or whatever.
Miles has a really interesting later one. It's interesting. It's just kind of weird because it's a boss battle, but not a boss battle. Because you're essentially running from the boss. And I was like, I want to just kick your ass, but I'm Miles, and I'm not Miles like who's Spider-Man Miles.
Yeah, and I agree with that gripe. It's not the most, but that's like such a minor gripe. And
it is such a small little like gripe. The rest of the game is fan-fucking-tastic.
I couldn't believe it, like when you first kind of like are perched up and you're just ready to go into the world. I couldn't believe like how far you could see and actually go there in this city and how detailed this city is.
And I didn't notice any, like I never once when I was playing go, this frame rate. The frame rate was fine for me on a regular PS4.
Yeah, agreed.
It impressed me the way that like, it makes you question how far away are we from like a legitimate like realization of a digital New York with like real-time like citizens.
Real-time citizens.
Like I'm not saying like I mean like like on their own path. Everything
like GPS tracking every single human in New York. And
it's almost like how they're saying with Cyberpunk 2077.
Project Red gets around to it.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like, and like I'm ready for a game to do that with New York.
Yeah. Well, dude, Spider-Man, they got pretty damn close to it feeling like New York. There was a post on Reddit the other day where the guy was playing Spider-Man. And he was like, hey, this building looks familiar. And he looked out his window, and it was the building from the game. And it was in the right spot. It was pretty crazy.
They did a great job of also incorporating, like, Marvel stuff into it, where, like, the Avengers Tower is there.
Right.
And that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, Times Square looks... Like, when you're playing at the nighttime, like, when you have the nighttime setting, and you go to Times Square, it's really cool.
Yeah. No, this is just a fucking phenomenal... It's a phenomenal. I've been trying to tell everyone to go play this game as quickly as they could because it's just it's so good, dude. It's so good.
Insomniac, man.
Yeah, they really killed it with this game.
They always put out killer stuff, and that's why when they announced that they were doing Spider-Man, I was not afraid. I was like, okay, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, it's so fucking fun, and it's not short either. It's not like a super short game. Because a lot of times you get these big AAA blockbusters. How long do you think this game is technically? Not to 100% it, but kind of get to like 90%.
Probably, I'd say 10 to 12 hours.
10 to 12 hours?
Because you're going to get sidetracked. There's no doubt about it. You are not always going to go story to story.
Right. Maybe because I haven't played it just straight up through the story, it feels a little bit longer.
For me, I think it took maybe 30 to 40 hours to fully 100% it.
Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, because I'm about I'm about halfway in, but I'm about 15 hours in, and I still have about half the story to go.
I spent like maybe an hour or two just swinging around New York, going to the top of Avengers Tower, and then doing the ability to just do flips.
Yeah,
and just doing that.
the game is just so fucking good, and I love how the game sort of like throws you into the action from the cutscenes because it's so seamless. Like you'll just be watching a cutscene, you're like, all right, what's going on with Peter and the fucking things that he has to do, and then he just fucking slams through a window and does all these like the quick time events. There's like not that many, and people made a big deal about it at first. There's like I don't know, I encountered maybe 5.
I was
they're like 2
surprised
seconds
actually
long.
when you're playing the story. I was surprised at the last E3 one they did, like the last E3 like presentation before the game came out, where like they are actually showing late game stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like while playing the game, I'm like, man, this is kind of like late in the story. And now I'm seeing the stuff from E3. I'm surprised they did that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy that they showed like the best parts of it though, you know, because it really got me hyped.
The quick time is very, very few and far in between like that.
Yeah. It's really just an accent to the CGI.
Yeah. If you like, I mean, it really is like, hey, you like the God of War quick events? Because it feels like it had those.
That's the question. What combat is better, God of War or Spider-Man?
Ooh,
I still think Witcher 3 combat's better.
Okay, but I can't make a decision on between God of War, the new God of War, and Spider-Man because
you have to make a decision. I'm not gonna let you slide.
I would say I would give it to Spider-Man only because there are multiple ways to tackle combat. Whereas God of War doesn't have things like sticking enemies to walls or using different kind of gadgets. It's usually like, all right, I can use some of these kind of powers.
God of War is more like the most brutal. Like, what's the most brutal way to rip this guy in half? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Where this is like, what's the more stylized way to fight? In my opinion, that's kind of how I look at it.
If you want to take the game on by stealth and just stealth everything, you can totally do that in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
If you want to just go in and rack up 100 combo, you can totally do that. Yeah, so I would give that edge to Spider-Man.
I agree.
But it's very close.
I agree. I would give the edge to Spider-Man. And that's not to say God of War is bad at all. It's still, one of my favorite fucking combat mechanics ever.
That is a question that either answer is really correct.
Yeah. It's just so good. Like, they're both so good. But you're right. Like, I don't know. I just like I just like fucking killing people in cool ways. Killing all these henchmen in cool ways. It's just so fucking fun, man. I can't wait to go play it after this fucking show. Such a good game. I'm kind of surprised you beat 100%ed it already. Like, are you still playing it at all now that you beat it or no?
I NoLifed it hard.
I wanted to. I had a wedding to go to.
Yeah.
So, wedding.
Since I do already have the DLC before, I'm just essentially waiting for the DLC. Plus, I got Dragon Quest 11 right now.
Dude, no lie, I thought about bringing my PlayStation on my honeymoon. Not even kidding.
Quick, get up in the boat.
I love how mad I will say I love how mad people how mad Xbox people were when it came out. I think one of my favorite videos on Twitter was just a guy screaming at his Xbox, "Why can't I play Spider-Man on you?" And there was the other one where it's like Spider-Man PS4, Spider-Man Xbox, and it was just Lego Spider-Man. I was dying.
Yeah, if you have an Xbox, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're beat because you're missing out on a fucking awesome game for sure.
PS4 only.
The subscription's not. You're not gonna do it for me. It's not gonna bring it back.
Unfortunately, not. I don't care how many Xbox passes you get.
And Spider-Man is one of those games and those IP that franchise where even the most casual of gamers were excited for it.
All right, let me ask you something. Do you think that this Spider-Man was portrayed well?
I liked Peter Parker. I was intrigued by the story beats, but this was the kind of Peter that I liked because a lot of the newer stuff has been
cool.
Young Peter Parker in high school,
young Peter
Parker in the early stages of college. This is Peter Parker is on his own, gets evicted from his apartment. His life's kind of not in a great place, and he's working as a scientist.
Yeah,
I like the more adult Peter Parker, and it's one of the reasons why I'm really looking forward to the new Sony Spider-Man movie, the CGI stylized one called Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
because it's an older Peter Parker who has seen some shit,
which is going to be narrated by fucking Nicolas Cage.
Don't know. But all I know is it's focused on Miles Morales.
No, definitely. Nicolas Cage is definitely gonna be the voice.
Is he narrating it?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh.
But why not Owen Wilson?
Wow. Wait, let me play the wow.
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 He's got webs. Wow.
Yeah, I thought this Peter Parker was awesome, dude. I like there was a scene where you're texting MJ after a fight, and it just felt super kind of real. You know what I mean? Like they actually did that pretty well, where it was done well. It wasn't like in a cheesy way. But
Yeah,
Spider-Man, which is like cheesy to begin, like
and
it was weird
it's
how they
the
did
easiest way to throw you into that world and immediately immerse you in it. It's not to do an origin story. This is a Spider-Man who has fought all his nemesis already. For the most part, like I said, there is sequel bait. And
I'm
then
okay
you get
with
to
that.
see the rise of some of the other ones. But like he's already fought Rhino before. He's already fought like Electro a couple times.
Yeah.
So like this isn't a Spider-Man like finding himself. This is your Spider-Man. Go. Do
Yeah.
Spider-Man. We don't need to tell the same fucking origin story for the 5th time.
Yeah.
Which was the best part about Homecoming, the movie, is that it didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super happy with it. All right, what would you rate it out of 10 if you could rate it? What would you give it?
9.25. My only gripes are the stealth missions and some of the facial like animations are kind of but those are so nitpicky.
Yeah. I would give it a 9. I would pretty much agree with you. I'd give it a 9. Like it's that good.
Yeah, for me, like if I had to pick game of the year right now, it's between God of War and Spider-Man.
I know, it's so hard. And then with Red Dead's coming out as well, like this is insane. Like I was thinking about it too. Like, dude, these games are getting so fucking good, man. So good. I would give it a 9. I think it's crazy because like my only gripe right now that I can think of is that I just want more. Like it feels like there's just not enough of it. But that's not really a gripe that you can kind of put on it. So I'm thinking like, you know, I wish that there was maybe more costumes, more different collectibles, more callbacks to the comics.
Do you think it's a score to be determined after all the DLC drops?
Yeah, probably.
Because that was the thing. God of War was specific that they were like, we're not doing DLC for this.
Yeah.
This is the game.
Can you give it Game of the Year then if not all the DLC is there? It's hard.
The DLC, I believe, will all be out before the end of the year.
Oh, really? It's coming soon then?
I believe October, November, and December. I can look up the dates real quick.
Oh, wow. I can't believe they're already going to just drop all the DLC then. That makes me excited. Do you know what kind of DLC it'll be? Is it like storyline DLC?
It's all clothes.
It's just Spidey's outfits?
We've got 3 parts. It's the episodic DLC called The City That Never Sleeps. We've got the first chapter is The Heist, October 23rd. We'll introduce players to Black Cat. It adds new missions and challenges, a new enemy faction, and 3 new Spider-Man suits.
Nice.
Then there's going to be Turf Wars in November and Silver Lining in December, but no information on those yet. But they probably will emphasize the character of Silver Sable at some point.
Okay.
And you can get it for $25
Okay.
or $10 each if you want to buy them separately.
So I'm thinking like, because like they already made the setting, like they already made all of New York City, they can just add story elements to it now. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to go and create a whole new game every time. Like just keep giving me more awesome stories.
I think the turnaround for Spider-Man 2 will definitely be a lot quicker because that world's already developed.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't see them going on a Spider-Man around the world thing yet. It's Spider-Man New York.
Spider-Man Japan would be cool. Like Tokyo.
Japan would be cool too, but like that idea of like make all the DLCs like campaigns. Like you already have the world built. You don't have to build a new world. So you can put so much more emphasis into telling a good story.
Yeah. Like even if it was like maybe like a 10-hour campaign every month but the same city. Like you're just dropped back into the same city. Maybe you can add like interior areas of the city which are campaigns, but I mean
Avengers
just focus
Tower,
on an awesome story.
Like, yeah,
you can do a whole thing with Avengers Tower.
Yeah, like just make like, okay, here's a DLC. It's a 10-hour campaign based off of one villain.
Right.
And here's an entire campaign storyline based off of this villain with missions all over the city.
Yeah, I'd be super happy with that.
And making it a good story and making it pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the story for Spider-Man, like it feels like it's I would definitely read it if it was a comic, and I would see it if it was a movie, hands down.
Yeah.
It's not like, mind bending, crazy, groundbreaking, but it's a good Spider-Man story, and I like it.
Yeah. It's a little fantastical, I will say. It's a little bit
I mean, it's
fairy
comic
tale,
books. That's comic
but
books.
yeah, it is comic books.
You gotta
Sometimes.
you gotta suspend your disbelief. There's a guy who swings around who got bitten by a
Oh,
radioactive spider. Come
I
on.
definitely do with Spider-Man. Not so much many of the other ones, but definitely Spider-Man. I'll suspend a little bit extra.
Yeah, Superman and Batman can suck it. Spider-Man's better.
I agree, dude. I'm a huge Spidey fan. I love Peter Parker. All right, and you've been playing Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah. I'm about 20 hours into it. If you like JRPGs, it's a good turn-based JRPG so far. It's got a cool mechanic where you can forge your own equipment, which I like as a mini game. In general, it's just it's JRPG, but the world is really colorful.
It's on Switch.
Really, no. Well, okay. So it's a PS4 and PC title right now. There is a Switch version coming. They also made a 3DS version that was Japan only, but it is coming to Switch. But it's coming to Switch as Dragon Quest 11S, which stands for special. So I don't know what changes they're going to make for it. But the funny thing is that was actually the first game to be announced for the NX when the Switch was still called the NX. It was the first official game to be announced, and it's coming next year. So I don't know. It's weird. I've noticed a few frame rate issues here and there on the PS4. Probably runs fine on the Pro. But it is, if you're looking for a colorful JRPG, instead of like Final Fantasy 15 where it's all dark and crap, it's really colorful. The characters are really fun. The animations, like all the designs, are really good. Design is actually all done by Amuro. Was it? God, is it Amuro? It's the dude who does Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
Tetsuya Amuro or something like that. He did all the stuff for Chrono Trigger. He's been the designer for all the characters and like monsters and stuff since like old Dragon Quest. So if you like that art style, you like the Dragon Ball Z art style, you're gonna like the art style of Dragon Quest. And then that, like, it's like a grind. You grind a little bit like any other JRPG. But I'm really enjoying the story, and the characters and the writing are top notch. Like, they're actually funny and endearing, which is what some of these other JRPGs kind of lack. Yeah, other than that, I'm not going to take too much time with this one, but
How much do you think you have left to play?
I'm like level 26. I'm on a quest to find 4 orbs before I can even go to like the next story beat. So probably another 80 hours. I'm about 20 hours in.
Jesus. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk to Doobie next year when he finishes Witcher 3.
Which I did start.
Doobie finally started Witcher 3. I don't know if we talked about that yet.
I'm about 18 hours into Witcher 3.
Have we talked about that yet?
I think I started right before. I think I started a little bit before we took a break. So we might have. But either way, I'm about 18 hours in.
So
Spider-Man kind of derailed that.
I want to know what you think of The Witcher 3 so far.
I like it. I'm enjoying it.
I'm already disappointed in your.
I'm only like 18 hours in.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it. Combat's pretty interesting.
You're still in like the tutorial stages.
I feel like I am. I really do still feel like I am because like
doing a lot of side quests and shit.
I'm a guy who does a lot of side quests. And I like exploring, and I'm finding where it's like, oh man, there's a lot of places where I just wander into and die.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's no real like it's like, oh, there's level 10 over here, and then like 2 steps away from it's level 45, and yeah, so it's just been a lot of like running around and dying.
Yeah.
But then that I'm enjoying it, but I'm not far enough in the story that I'm not enamored with it yet. But I'm not saying I'm not going to be. It's only because I'm not super far in it. I think the last story thing I did was like I did the cave with the Wild Hunt where you kind of first really meet them.
Okay.
But I can tell I'm like really like not in far in the story yet. So.
Yeah. You still have a little bit. There's still some stuff that you got to be doing.
Yeah, like I talked to you, like I think like one of the I'm on the island with Yennefer and the dude. I do enjoy how decisions actually do change things. So like the way I did a path, it led to the Duke dude like hanging himself.
Mm.
But I know that like it told me straight up, you could have avoided this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you run
But
into a few of those, which is pretty dope.
And
yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's kind of cool for if I ever want to replay it, I can make note of that and do it differently next time.
Yeah. all of those main stories change dramatically, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like that's also why I'm excited for Cyberpunk, because like also all of them are they're not like choose the happy answer to win. It's like choose the slightly less depressing answer.
Yeah, I was like when he hung himself, I was like, damn.
Yeah, there's a few moments where you're like, oh my god, they're going there with it.
That,
But that's what
shit
makes
got
it Witcher.
heavy.
I'll tell you what Witcher 3 kind of reminds me of now. It's like Spider-Man. It's like this Spider-Man, but for medieval times. You know what I mean? Like you play as the medieval Spider-Man, if that makes sense. And like
Okay.
the world is New York City or whatever.
And are allowed to have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like definitely the early game, like the first like couple like hours, you're just like looking at all the prices and you're like, I'm broke.
Mm.
And now I'm starting to get to the point where like, okay, I have some money.
Yeah. And then you get into the crafting, and then like I said, this playthrough that I'm playing now, I'm getting into the alchemy. Like I never even touched that area of the game, and it's like a whole. It's just crazy.
I will say I don't know
There's
if
so
it's
much
the
in it.
PC. I don't know if it's something with the PC or my controller. I do get a slightly annoyed when I'm like it has the button prompt to pick up stuff, and I hit the button repeatedly and it doesn't do anything.
I think
Yeah.
that might be with the controller, yeah. So
Yeah, that might
I don't know. It's
I never
just
had that
really
issue.
annoying. And then like the sense, the wild sense kind of thing. It's sometimes I lose track of it.
Yeah, like I use it for when the story tells me to, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's kind of all I use it for.
Use it. You should use it too, like if you're treasure hunting, because it makes it easier to find treasure.
That definitely get into crafting, because like once you start get into crafting, but also some of the fun is finding all of the other Witcher sets. So like crafting
the Griffin, there's the cat one.
Like there's a whole bunch of those, and they all can level up things like that.
I literally haven't gotten any of them.
Dude, by far best gear in the game. They're so much fun, and they actually look good.
And I haven't even gotten to like I haven't gotten full Witcher sets. Like there's so much I still haven't done, and I've been.
Yeah, I haven't really worried about speccing my character.
Yeah, you don't need to. Not at the point you're at right now.
Yeah, I feel like Cyberpunk is going to be a game that I don't want to say it's not intuitive in Witcher. There is a lot of reading. I do really enjoy the lore. I do like how there's like 1,000 books.
Yeah, there's so fucking many.
Because they are enjoyable to read.
You can, like, that's what CD Projekt Red's done amazingly too. Is like they get you into that world, like they make that world instantly believable, but really get you into it, and engaged with it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of lore. So any game that has like a really good back lore that
even when
doesn't get convoluted and up its own ass,
like that's
AKA Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, like no, that's what I think is the most impressive about The Witcher 3 is they made it like a cohesive lore story. When if you read some of the Witcher books and like just go into general Witcher lore, like it's great. They're wonderful stories. The actual lore is like the most incohesive piece of shit ever made. Like
I don't know, man.
Like
I think
Kingdom Hearts lore is pretty convoluted and up its own ass.
I mean, dude, like take of it this way. It's still to this point, there isn't like a map. There still isn't like a official map throughout all of the books and the games of like, here's where like Nilfgaard's invading from the south. That's what you're told. You still don't know where Nilfgaard is. You just know they're invading from the south.
Man, see that starts to put it a little bit below Elder Scrolls for me on the lore.
No, I think the lore is better than I think the lore is better than Elder Scrolls. But just enjoyability wise.
Yeah, like it does leave you open though, which is kind of nice. Where like there's things that definitely weave it all together, because what they're two different things, because a lot of Elder Scrolls lore is based on the world. And what CD Projekt Red's done a really good job is a lot of the lore is based around your character.
Yeah.
Where it's based around Geralt and Triss and Yennefer and Ciri. Like, that's the lore of The Witcher. It's told from a story. Like, all of The Witcher is a story about Geralt, basically, rather than like the
Than just
land
the
of.
land.
Yeah, it doesn't. They don't treat the world as kind of its own character.
Mm.
Right.
Whereas like Elder Scrolls very much treats its lands as their own character, because every game like takes place like centuries later than the last one, so they update the lore of what happened to those lands.
It's cool too.
Because it all takes place.
It does happen in The Witcher too. Like, there's tons of battles, and you can find what happened at those battles, and they are very important. But like, they're a lot more open to interpretation, because also throughout the games you can change some of those battles, things like that. So they can't necessarily pin them down as much either, because that wouldn't make sense. Because like that was the thing with Witcher 2. A lot of people are pissed off because, spoilers, you wake up, the way that game starts is you're getting out of bed with Yennefer, or not Yennefer, Triss. And like people were pissed because like the first game they didn't romance Triss.
Yeah, makes sense.
So like they had to try to let
Hey, your ending wasn't canon.
right. They had to try to make it so all of the endings were canon. You know what
Good
I
old
mean?
Mass Effect 3 it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that was trying to make as many canon endings, or as many endings canon as possible, which they did a mostly pretty good job like that, actually.
No, they did an amazing fucking job with it. I think I like it more. I think it's more enjoyable than the Elder Scrolls lore, because a lot of the time the Elder Scrolls lore, it's like sleepy kind of. You know what I mean? It's not as enticing. I like the way that in The Witcher.
It's more Conan than high fantasy.
Yeah, yeah. And I like the way The Witcher, like, you'll find books on, like, the beasts and, like, the lore of the beast that you're fighting, and then you figure out stupid ways to kill them, you know, and their
I'm always a
weaknesses.
fan of, like, bestiaries.
Yeah.
I mean, when I play Shin Megami Tensei games, like Persona and stuff, I'm always reading the descriptions of, like, the demons.
Yeah. Yeah, Witcher does a fucking awesome job with that, because you need to know some of that stuff to make the oils. Like, there's all different types of oils and shit. And, all right, anyways, let's move on. Telltale has disbanded. Telltale under fire for prioritizing The Walking Dead conclusion in wake of mass layoffs. They went under, didn't they?
They are now a skeleton crew of 25 people.
So they didn't go completely.
Not completely under, but they did
Under.
lay off 90% of their staff without severance.
Mm.
Kind of just up and told them, hey, y'all are fired.
And
If you
canceled
want money,
every
you're not
project.
getting it.
Canceled every project of note, basically.
And they are currently shipping the last chapter of The Walking Dead to anybody that'll pretty much take it.
Yeah, pretty much. They also admitted like they made money off of Minecraft, and that was about it.
Really?
Yeah. They had horrible financing issues.
Yeah, like almost all of their games.
Well, you figure Walking Dead probably cost them a lot to license, right? Because it's all licensing.
Walking
Batman.
Dead. Batman was a huge flop.
Even The Wolf Among Us isn't
Yeah,
like property.
and
Oh,
that was
it's
good.
not.
But I don't even think that even made a profit. I think it was mostly just Minecraft.
Which
That
is
was
kind of a shame, because
Yeah.
like some of their like I really enjoyed their Batman game, and it brings up kind of the idea, and this is what a lot of places where they have these like I don't know, Japan did it like with Persona especially, where they don't want you streaming it, and the idea behind it is if you stream it, then people aren't going to play it.
Right.
And I think these kinds of games
They get a
might hold
pass. They get a
some
pass.
water.
No, they do. They get a pass.
Yeah, because these
It's like if
replayable games.
if a
in my
movie
opinion.
came out and someone was just streaming the movie, who the fuck's gonna go see the movie?
Yeah,
It's the same exact thing. It's not about the gameplay at all, really. It's
Yeah,
just
when
the
you have-
story.
like essentially point and click adventure games, they're not the ones that you're gonna see footage of and watch stream of it and then go buy it. You're gonna pretty much get their experience. Whereas Persona, like you can spec your team, you can do all this other stuff. There's so much that the player controls.
Yeah. I tell you what,
It's like
I
this-
loved the first Walking Dead Telltale series. The only really the one that I liked. I played through it, but I bought it after it was all released. There's no way I'm playing a fucking game and I gotta wait to play the next episode. That's so stupid. They should have never done that.
And then something like this happens, and
Right.
Until they announced that they were shopping the last episode, it was pretty much, they were saying, yeah, it's going to be incomplete.
Yeah.
So why the fuck did you even buy it in the first place?
Yeah.
You can't even, it's like if The Witcher 3 was episodic and you bought the first 2 parts and then the ending, they were like, hey, we're not going to release it.
Yeah.
They half-lifed it.
Yeah. No, I was like, no way. I would never ever do that. Never. Not with a game. Not with a game.
That's why
That's what makes me worried.
Stuff like Hitman was always a lot of fun for me growing up, but like I'm not gonna buy episodic Hitman.
Right.
That's what worries me about Final Fantasy VII Remake is when they said it was episodic, I was like, yeah, I'll wait until it's all released before I buy it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not buying episode 1 and then waiting 2 years for episode 2 and another 4 years for episode 3, or how many episodes are going to goddamn make. Like, episodic is what almost killed Hitman.
Yeah. And I tell you what, like,
you
if
gotta
you're
buy episode 1 on Xbox 360, then you buy episode 2 on Xbox One X, and then you buy episode
on the
3
next
I don't know
Xbox.
how many more times.
Xbox 37.
I don't know how many more times we have to see how episodic content fails. It's fine for DLC, like Spiderman DLC is episodic, and I think that's fine for DLC. But when your main content game is episodic,
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
It's not gonna work.
No, it makes no sense to me. And it's just like when you're someone like Telltale and you're, a smaller developer, you're trying to get your name out there, and that's how you kind of release your games. It's like, I'm not even going to look at you. You know what I mean? I played the first Walking Dead because it was all released, and I heard it was a game of the year. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I would have never played it, ever. I would have never played this game if you told me it was a walking sim that was released episodically, and it was by a developer that knew about. Luckily, they were able to get that game of the year acclaim. But I think that also kind of hurt them because they weren't able to scale. They just, after that, the Game of the Year thing, they bought like 10 different licenses. And then now what? Now you're paying licenses on all these different franchises. You better fucking scale the right way. And if you can't, you're going to go under. And I guess that's what happened.
And some of their games were not really well written. They weren't well received. I think Tales of the Borderlands wasn't really well received.
Which that's like a death knell. If you, that's the only thing, that's your game.
That's all you had to do.
You walk and click and listen to a story. And if it's a bad story,
then you're just clicking.
I'd rather spend my money on like a porno virgin.
Let's be honest. Tales of the Borderlands kind of came out well after the Borderlands craze had died down.
Yeah,
it did.
If it's not a good story, like, dude,
Batman kind of helped them. The story that they did with Batman was good, but the problem is it didn't sell like they wanted it to.
Actually, speaking of Minecraft, did you know that YouTube came out and said Minecraft is still like the #1 game on its fucking platform? That's crazy. That's crazy to me. Who the fuck
YouTube is not a
playing
Minecraft. Yeah, like that's Twitch.
Oh, it's still a lot of Fortnite, but like
it's a lot of Fortnite.
Yeah, but YouTube still has bigger numbers than Twitch. Believe it or not,
it's all the little kids.
Yeah.
Will watch every single day.
Yeah.
Every hour.
It's a shame about Telltale because they were like that story. Like I love story. That's what I go for in a lot of these bigger games. But after that, it's like, of course, in The Walking Dead, the first episode, that ending. It's like, of course this is going to do well. It's just like that ending. You put that ending in fucking Spiderman or any game, you're going to get a good reaction.
It also came out at like...
It wasn't like it was written...
It
wasn't like it was completely written so beautifully. Like, it was pretty good, and it had a good ending, and that was it. I don't think it was Game of the Year by any stretch of the word.
Yeah, it came out at like the height of the whole, like, when Walking Dead was super popular.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like if it had came out now, I don't think it would have done nearly as well as it did when it came out like during that height.
Right. Yeah, that was a huge time for
I feel bad for the employees. The 90% of employees fired without severance. Just up and fired.
That sucks, but then again, they're from a Game of the Year developer. They'll be fine.
They're gonna find jobs.
They'll find better jobs where they'll get paid more.
Probably. Just don't go work for what is it? Not Ubisoft. What was the other company that got like a ton of shit?
EA.
Well, don't ever go work for EA.
If you want to make money, go work for EA.
You want to, make Madden? Go ahead, make Madden. When is the Tales of the Madden? Tales of the Long Shot. Or just a point-and-click adventure game.
So
No football.
What is this? Former Telltale Games employee sues company.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
getting sued too, I guess.
Oh, of course.
Violating labor laws after it laid off hundreds of employees Friday. The suit, which seeks class action status, was filed in federal court in San Francisco on Monday by attorneys Bernie Brown, John Roberts.
Which, mind you, that's class action. That's a lot of people that get fired.
Yeah.
That are looking, to get something.
Alleges that Telltale violated the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, the WARN Act, and its California counterpart by failing to give employees at least 60 days advance written notice of termination. Well, if they didn't do that, then obviously they're going to get hit with that fine.
Which everything seems to point that they didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like they did. It sounds like they just released it on Twitter and people were like, what the fuck? We're going under?
Yeah, it's kind of like how the president tells you you're fired. Just puts it on Twitter and then you say it to your face.
That's the move, I guess, these days. All right, moving on. Tokyo Game Show happened. Capcom told fans of the Phoenix Wright franchise to watch for unmissable news. Proceed to announce yet another port of the first 3 games, but on all consoles and PCs. So this is the attorney game?
Well, Phoenix Wright, what was it, an Ace Attorney? Originally came out on the DS or Game Boy Advance and DS. So this is how old we're talking. You can play them on your iPhone. They're on iOS. They're on the Google Play Store. And I'm not for me, this is kind of cool because now it's on PS4, Xbox, PC, Switch. That's cool. But when you tell your fan base that it's unmissable news, who have played the first 3 games probably multiple times, they can kind of miss that.
Yeah.
Unmissable news would be announcing a new game.
Yeah.
Especially when the TGS was at 3 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah. Well, I definitely missed it. So
Capcom, if it sells well to a new audience, maybe.
Who the fuck is gonna buy Ace Attorney?
What
is it? It's a story game, right?
They're puzzle games.
Oh, it's a puzzle game?
Yeah. You do
I thought it was like a walking sim with lawyers.
I don't even think you move your character. You just pretty much point and click and do puzzles. Which I'm a fan of puzzles. I've played the first one. I have them. I think I have the first 3, which are these, on my flash cart that I just can plug into my 3DS, and I play it there. So these are updated versions with better graphics, but I'm not gonna buy another set of 3 when I would rather see a new game, which I feel like they will do. But how you gonna tell people unmissable news and then just
maybe
drop
something
up?
Was lost in the translation. Maybe it was just hey,
I don't know. I hope so.
Don't miss what we were talking. Don't miss the thing that what I mean.
Twitter was mad. I know that because I was up looking at Twitter and people were not happy that they felt like they got baited.
They definitely did. All right, on Nintendo Online Services, they're up. They're shitty. It's really bad.
Play some NES games like ice hockey.
Well, I've been playing Mario Tennis and it's terrible.
I told you there's no servers. There weren't. People were I mentioned on Twitter and people were commenting on it and going, where do you know there's no servers? Because they didn't mention them. You're paying for peer-to-peer. And the way they got you was saying, but it's only $20. As if that's acceptable.
Yeah.
The backlash won't be as bad because it's so much cheaper. The fact that it's $20 at all is kind of bullshit for the service you're getting.
It's not.
I'm not getting it until Smash comes out and I have to get it to play with some of my friends in California.
There's no reason to get it.
I'm just $20, really?
I think people are going to be really disappointed when Smash comes out. I really do. I think the online is going to be such trash.
I won't be surprised. Smash 4's online was garbage.
Yeah. And if it's bad, how is that it's affecting Smash? That game needs to be fluid.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. And peer-to-peer is so awful because you are gimped to as like it's like
Really
one
give
on
to the
one.
weakest link.
Yeah, one on one's not as horrible, but if you try to play 4-player Smash with items on,
I'm telling you right now,
you're better off throwing your system in the garbage.
Mario Tennis is one-on-one. There's no items. You're hitting a ball back and forth, and it's bad.
Yeah,
It's bad. So Nintendo has I don't know what they're gonna do about it.
I wish they would team up with like a third party or something to fix their shit because internally it ain't working.
They would never do that. That's the
I know
problem.
they won't, and that's the sad part. Like, could you imagine Nintendo with like Microsoft's online?
Yeah, they would easily be able. Microsoft. This is all Nintendo has to do. Hey, Microsoft, can we hop on the Azure cloud system and then run all of our gaming service on it? We'll pay you this $1 million, and they'd be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And that's all they would have to do, and they won't do it because it's Nintendo, and they have to do it all themselves.
And the funny part is like Microsoft, as considered as quote unquote direct competition, it's really only in like outside of Japan where they're really direct competition because Xbox is doing nothing in Japan.
Yeah,
they're lucky if they ship 100 units a week of Xbox Xbox Ones.
Yeah,
they don't sell in Japan, but because their competitor, and they do have like especially when you compare it to like Sony, Nintendo and Microsoft do have a decent relationship. They have a good relationship, but not that good of a relationship.
I mean, I'm just depressed now because I'm excited for Smash, and I guarantee you when that game drops,
gonna have to find some friends to play IRL with.
Yeah, when that game drops, people are gonna be like, "Why is the online so shitty?"
Playing it with other people in person will be phenomenal, but playing it online, especially for fun, items.
99% of most gaming is gonna be done by yourself. You know what I mean? You're gonna want to play Smash. You're not gonna be with your friend all the time.
Luckily for me, I have a decent friend group that likes to get drunk and play Super Smash Brothers. So
yeah, but how often is that? Like once a week? There's gonna be so many times you're gonna be laying in bed and you're gonna be like, I just want to play some Smash. You hop online and it's just a frustrating experience. Like I don't know how they're gonna do it at all. Like
especially when the Wi-Fi is garbage and you don't plug into an Ethernet.
Yeah, it's like, dude, Mario Tennis is glorified Pong and it runs like shit online.
You can't plug it into Ethernet in handheld mode.
No, you can't. You can't. It's trash. It's just such trash.
Welcome to Nintendo. The games are great. The online's not.
I'll tell you what will make them sort of rethink is if everyone did a chargeback on their online service to their credit card companies, and then they'd be like, "Oh shit, we're gonna be shut down on our credit services. Maybe we should."
But man, you get to play online ice hockey with your friends. The NES Classic, Tecmo Bowl.
That probably doesn't even run good. I haven't played Splatoon or Mario Kart or any other ones online.
The only interesting thing I saw about Mario Kart was the dreaded fucking app actually lets you chat with random people, which might be a Nintendo first.
Really?
Like you can actually talk with random players.
So how does it work? Have you used it online?
I have not.
Oh, okay. I was wondering like how
because
it works.
I ain't paying for it until Smash.
Yeah, there's no need. There's no reason to. And you don't even need it for Fortnite. Fortnite still runs off their own servers, which is pretty smart.
Thank God.
I think maybe Smash should just do that. I think they would actually.
If they could give servers to Smash, like
I think Smash, like I said, instead of
it would be worth it.
Instead of Nintendo going to Microsoft, just have what's his name, Miyazaki, go to Microsoft and be like, hey, can you put my Smash servers on here and I'll pay you this many millions of dollars and then we'll just run it off your servers, and they'd be like, okay, and he'd be like, okay, my game runs great now, and plus it's also still free.
Then give us Master Chief and Smash.
That would be great. All right. Yeah, the NES emulator that comes with Nintendo Online Services has already been hacked.
It didn't take long.
So what has been hacked? Can you play it on the Switch without paying for it? Is that what that means?
You can add NES games. Essentially, what the NES emulator that you get with your online service.
It's an actual emulator?
It's literally the NES Classics emulator.
Ah.
They just ported it right to the Switch.
Can you download ROMs? So I'm assuming you would have to plug in a USB.
I think you would have to also have your Switch hacked as well, which, I mean, you're voiding your warranty and God forbid you break your system.
Yeah, but how much more
It's a
interested
risky
are
run.
you on an SNES emulator on the Switch? I'm more
I would
interested in
rather it
that.
be official. Like, unless the system becomes so broken to the point that the Wii was, where you essentially could hack it at any point with no issue whatsoever. Like you would like bricking it would be a super rare occurrence, and
Yeah.
then you could just put all of your virtual console stuff there. But I don't know. There's some rumors. I've seen some stuff where there's some code listed for VC, NES, SNES, GB, GBC, GBA, and N64. But I think that's only because they tied the code to the 3DS as well to have one shared eShop code, because the 3DS still does have Virtual Console. But I don't know. I just don't. Nintendo seems to view Virtual Console and this stuff as like very low priority.
Yeah.
They just don't see people buying old games on their systems. Even though I totally think people do want that, especially the nostalgia crazy people, and the system is sold really well. I think they're just leaving money on the table.
Yeah, they are. For
You
sure.
know, it can't really. I don't see it costing them that much to
Maybe it's a
put.
licensing thing that makes
I
it an
could
issue.
see that with certain games, but with like Mega Man games, because you got to license it with Capcom.
Well, also, like, how do you pay those people that worked on those games again? You know, do
Yeah,
they pay them?
depending on how
Like,
old they are and what contracts they signed at the time.
yeah, because I'm sure there's all different types of
But man,
contracts.
like the Wii U library of Virtual Console was such a slow trickle that it just made no sense. Especially when you realize like they were just moving the games from the Wii over to the Wii U, but you could still access the Wii by going through like the legacy mode and getting into the Wii eShop from there. It was just dumb. Like I don't know how I don't know. What I feel like is they have a very small skeleton crew, and that's why it takes so long. It's because they only have like 3 people working on it.
Well, there's also going to be a PlayStation Classic coming out with 20 loaded games,
Which I don't.
and it's
Okay,
tiny.
so let me break this down. The Sony Classic is $100. The $100 you could also use to buy a PS TV, which runs not only PlayStation Classic games, but also runs a ton of other games, has a wireless controller, is about the same size as the PS Classic, and you can hack the shit out of it. Don't get me wrong, this is going to get hacked like crazy too. You know somebody's going to hack it. But like
Wait,
Final
what is a
Fantasy
PS
7,
TV?
You never seen the PS TV? Look it up.
I'm looking it up. It's like a little box.
Yeah, you can run Vita games on it. You can
PlayStation as
run
well.
PlayStation Classic games that you can buy from the store on it for like
Oh,
$8 a game.
what the fuck? I never heard of this.
Yeah, it's great. PS
Oh
TV
my
is like a
god.
solid thing
So why did they release the PlayStation Classic?
because they're hopping on the classic nostalgia boner.
Well, probably
And
because no one fucking knows about this.
And part of me is like, okay, so Final Fantasy VII is one of your first titles you list on it, which makes sense. It is a classic. You can also play it on PC. You can also play it on the Switch in 2019. You could also emulate the crap out of that. You can also play that on a PSP, a PS Vita. You can play it on it's like the Doom of Final Fantasy. You can play it on everything. So that's not a big one. Like was it Jumping Jack or Jumping Flash? That game is so weird that nobody sees that as a classic.
I do, but I played it
I've
like
seen this. I've seen the speed run of it live.
I played it when I was like maybe 7 years old. I barely remember it, so it's classic in that sense.
When you played Bubsy 3D. I get the idea behind it.
It's the same thing
But
with the SNES and the NES Classic. It's just people that
it's
just want it.
Yeah, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo comes up soon with that N64 Classic.
I don't know
And
why
we got
people
ourselves a
just
classic.
buy the system.
It's the classic console wars. It's what's happening.
People should just buy the system. They're cheap. You can get them anywhere.
Get a PS2.
Yeah.
Get a PS2 Slim. You can get it for like like $50. It runs all the games. You can buy the PS1 games, or if you have a computer with a friggin' You can have it with a NVIDIA 660, and you can
No, you can run it on your. You don't even need a graphics card. You run it on integrated graphics nowadays.
run it on your phone.
Yeah, you can run it
Get
on your
yourself a wireless 8-bit DOE controller. You're good to go.
Or if you
I
want
just like
that
$100.
experience, you can just go to the fucking thrift shop, pick one up for like $10, and go find some
Yeah.
games. That's more fun, in my opinion, than
And
this
you
is,
and
like,
you know
fake
this thing.
nostalgia.
This thing is most likely just another Raspberry Pi in a box.
Yeah,
It's gonna get hacked to hell immediately.
yeah.
The only cool thing is I do enjoy the USB PlayStation controller. I do kind of like that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
But it's not the analog one, like with the sticks, not the DualShock, because that would probably make would cost like what, another $20 to do that.
Yeah. All right.
And they ain't gonna do that.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We're gonna get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the tech portion of the show. Feels good to be back. Make sure you keep an eye out on the channel, uploading a lot more now that I'm back. Also, make sure you head over to the website as well. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.